CNS Healthcare joins us now. Today we're talking about anxiety and depression, what causes it, and what can be done about it. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You know, it sounds like depression is, well, every time we turn on the TV, it's all we hear about. It is like the #1 leading cause of mental illness in the United States.
You know, and what's concerning is with it being so familiar and people talk about it all the time, there are still so many people that don't get the care that they need.
Okay, and why do you think that is?
You know, whether it's just something they keep to themselves, there's still a stigma associated with it despite all the knowledge we have. Access to health care oftentimes is a barrier for many people as well.
All right. And there's different types of depression. It sounds like, you know, it can be brought on by different things. Sometimes it's psychotic depression. Other times it can just be the loss of a loved one or just heavy grieving. But tell us some about the trials and some medications that you guys are testing right now.
Well, you know, with depression, you know, the primary care setting takes care of a good bit of people, and then patients are referred to specialists for ongoing care or who may have what's called treatment-resistant depression, meaning they might take an antidepressant and not respond to it as well as they should. Some of the things that we're looking at are taking care of people who may be on an antidepressant who are not responding completely, or even folks who may want to try something different than just your usual medication. There are several new treatment options that are available through a clinical trial, which is, you know, to be able to conduct these trials and have folks participating, it's so important for that to happen so that these treatments that are very promising can be available to everyone.
What kind of treatments are these are they not a pill?
Well, there are some definitely that are a pill, but they're targeting different areas of the brain that are not currently impacted. We have a process called low frequency magnetic stimulation, where people receive treatment that way. It's just a tiny magnetic impulses that affect certain portions of the brain where there is supposed to be a rapid relief of depression. There is also a one-time injection that is supposed to alleviate depressive symptoms. There's also some intranasal opportunities, so a spray versus a pill.
Really?
So there's lots of different things that are on the horizon.
What are we showing there? Botox?
Well, that's one of the injectable options for depression.
Really?
We're not actually, you know, supposed to talk specifically about the medication itself, but that is one of the options.
It must be some sort of side effect that they found from people that are getting it for cosmetic reasons or whatever that alleviates depression.
In a sense, yes.
And oftentimes it's things that they find out through those trials.
It is.
That you learn more.
It's so interesting, like some of the medications that we've evaluated for depression that we've demonstrated to show effects in depression. Some of the side effects, of course, now are things that are being evaluated further that are showing promise for binge eating or smoking cessation. It's just really neat to see how everything's intertwined. But, you know, I would strongly recommend if you are someone who is suffering from depression, whether you're treated or not, a clinical trial is certainly a good starting point. And, you know, people may have some apprehension about moving that way, you know, as a first step. But one of the things we pride ourselves on is the fact that you get a phenomenal evaluation. You know, the clinical staff that are present there, you know, we have psychologists, board-certified psychiatrists, nurse practitioners, therapists, etc., who can do a very comprehensive examination, determine if this in fact would be a great step for you. If it is, perfect. We can oftentimes see you the same day or within a couple of days. And if it's not, then we can certainly provide you some resources where you can connect in the community so that you can have your issues addressed.
What are the signs of, if people are watching at home, what would the signs of depression be?
Well, you think there is obviously feelings of sadness, hopelessness, helplessness. A lot of people, a lot of the working professionals who are managing depression, one of the things they speak of so oftentimes is just lack of energy, lack of motivation, problems concentrating, following through with tasks, you know, kind of worry, tension, you know, an inability to relax, just kind of feeling keyed up, and sleep problems, sleep or appetite. You know, so you're either sleeping way too much or it's either very difficult to fall asleep and stay asleep. So you have different areas that are definitely impacted.
You know, I was reading something, and I guess a couple days ago, where there was a correlation between children who had grown up in high anxiety environments and then depression later in life. I guess there's some new correlation with that as well.
Well, I mean, it's not surprising at all. You know,
Right.
anxiety and depression are so tied hand to hand. Oftentimes it's, well, which one came first? You know, because a component of depression too is definitely the worry, the anxiety, and those kinds of things. Irritability.
Right. Tell us where do we go? Do we want to try, if we want to try out some of this new medication, where we can go?
You know, they can visit our website there, cnshealthcare.com. We're also, you can reach us by phone, 904-281-5757. And, you know, like I said, our nursing staff can see you the same day. So if you want an evaluation to determine, you know, how you're doing or to look at a clinical trial, just come on in. The other great thing is, you know, insurance is not required.
Yeah.
And we don't care anything about that.
That's good. That will help a lot of people.
We can come in and it doesn't cost you a thing and get a good workup. And, you know, and if you participate in one of the clinical trials, you have the opportunity, you'll have, you know, full lab work, physical exam, that type of thing. So, too, we're looking for any medical issues that may be underlying your symptoms. So it's very comprehensive and a very full workup.
Very good. All right, Susan Angel, CNS Healthcare. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
See you next time. Blue Man Group, part of the FSCJ Artist Series, will be performing at the Times Union Center for the Performing Arts this weekend. For ticket information, you can log on to fscjartistseries.org.